On New Year's Eve, President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law the 2022 appropriation bill tagged Budget of Economic Growth and Sustainability, valued at 17.12 trillion naira. A breakdown of the budget shows that 869 billion naira is for statutory allocation, 3.8 trillion for debt servicing, 6.9 trillion and 5.4 trillion naira for recurrent and capital expenditure. The finance minister says the country aims to generate 10.7 trillion naira in total revenues and that it would be 32.1% higher than the 8.1 trillion naira projected in 2021. And despite the 2022 budget having a debt service of 34%, the minister insists that Nigeria only has a revenue challenge and not a debt sustainability problem.
The debt level of the federal government of Nigeria is still within sustainable limits. Borrowings are essentially done for capital expenditure as well as human capital development as specified in the Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007. But having witnessed two consecutive economic recessions, we have had to spend our way out of recession, which contributed significantly to the growth of the public debt. It is unlikely that our recovery from each of the past two recessions will have been as fast without the sustained government expenditure, funded largely by debt. Nigeria's debt service to revenue ratio at 76% as at November 2021 is the highest amongst the African top economies. This is proof that what we have is not a classic debt sustainability problem, but a very significant revenue challenge. Starting with the education sector, you can see that we have made an aggregate provision of 1.23 trillion naira. The health sector has an aggregate provision of 876.38 billion. This represents 5.1% of the federal government budget. Provisions again made to the defense and the security sector at 2.29 trillion, representing 13.4% of the budget. We also made a provision of 1.42 trillion, representing 8.3% of the budget for infrastructure. Social development and poverty reduction got a provision of 462 billion. This is for the social investment program as well as the poverty reduction programs of government. Already we had seen taxes in place, taxes on tobacco and alcohol. So what has just been added is taxes on carbonated and sweetened drinks. And the focus for us is to be able to not just gain more tax and excise revenue, but also to improve on health outcomes.
While signing the budget, President Buhari had highlighted some worrisome additions inserted by federal lawmakers which may make the budget unimplementable, thereby generating heated debates. The minister is assuring of a swift resolution to the matter between both arms of government. The National Development Plan 2021 to 2025, which is intended to create 21 million jobs and take 35 million Nigerians out of poverty, is expected to generate 243 trillion naira, with the private sector expected to contribute 80% to it. The minister explains how the government intends to encourage more private sector participation.
We are working to ensure that we are continuously refining our fiscal laws to make it easy for businesses to operate in Nigeria. We are also continuously working to provide fiscal infrastructure that are vital for optimal operations of business, such as power, water, roads, rail, because all of those contribute towards the cost of businesses. We're also working together with the monetary authorities to provide different financing packages that will enable the private sector access finance to develop their business. But we've also reached out, we're reaching out to the private sector to say, you can also participate even in the development of infrastructure, either alone under part of the incentive schemes that we have provided, such as the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, where a company can elect to build a road with its resources and recover its investment over a period of time from tax credits. but also other incentives such as public-private partnerships and concessions. Right now, we have 4 of our airports scheduled for concession, and there are other projects that are listed for privatization under the privatization agency. There are a number of power projects that are already on the privatization block. So there are several opportunities, including the infrastructure company that has been recently set up, Infraco. Infraco is shopping for domestic and international investors.
Despite projecting a 3.8% growth for the African continent this year, the International Monetary Fund estimates a 2.7% growth for Nigeria in 2022. And with the non-oil sector contributing 67% of the revenue generated last year, there is cautious optimism that this budget will stimulate the economy. Amaka Udeh, Arise News.